it's really hard to show up for your team if you aren't showing up for yourself. Um, and what does that mean exactly? Well, I can't tell you what it means for you. I can't tell what it means for really anybody else because everybody's story is different. But for me, myself, my top performances in my career and in life in general have always coincided with sobriety. And sobriety bleeding into recovery.
This is Facility Rockstars, the podcast that celebrates the unsung heroes of our daily lives, facility professionals. I'm your host, Jay Colbert. Join me as we honor these great leaders, sharing stories, insights, and expertise that empower us all to learn and grow together. Facility Rockstars is sponsored by Coludus, operating the way you operate in order to make your life easier. Welcome back to Facility Rockstars. I'm your host, Jay Colbert. Today's guest is someone who lives at the intersection of advanced manufacturing, hands-on execution, and entrepreneurial grit. I'm really looking forward to this conversation because he doesn't just manage complex projects. He builds them, fabricates them, races them, and tells their stories. From cutting-edge Industry 4.0 technologies to record-setting performance on the track, his work is all about turning ambitious ideas into real-world results. He's a manufacturing and fabrication expert with deep technical roots in mechanical design, automation, and digital manufacturing. He is an entrepreneur and racer who has helped build a record-breaking motorsports brand through innovation, execution, and storytelling. He currently serves as the Associate Director of Projects at the Advanced Manufacturing Center at the University of Maine. Forrest Wentworth, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jay.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for taking your time and investing it with us.
I think it's a great opportunity. I think what you're doing is really helpful. Just get stories out there and share ideas. And, I learn every day. Fail every day, learn every day.
Yeah, there you go. That lands.
Yeah.
Same here.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Hey, let's just, and by the way, a little teaser. We're going to talk about a YouTube channel that Forrest has curated over the years, and very, very cool. We're going to give him a plug on that one and tell you how to get there later in the show. Before we do that, though, Forrest, biggest lesson learned, man. You do a lot of all of it. What's been your biggest lesson learned?
Biggest lesson learned is, it starts in personal life, because we can't get away from being humans that go to work every day. Oh, you can't really remove that. So, biggest lesson learned, I think it's really hard to show up for your team, if you aren't showing up for yourself. What does that mean exactly? Well, I can't tell you what it means for you. I can't tell what it means for really anybody else because everybody's story is different. But for me, myself, my top performances in my career and in life in general have always coincided with sobriety. And sobriety bleeding into recovery, particularly with for myself, alcohol. So whenever I've been able to be in recovery, so not just not using alcohol or substances, but actually working on being a better human at the same time, I've been able to perform at my highest. A good example is right now, where I am today. But the energy it takes to keep life on the rails while actively managing something like addiction is all the energy you need to be there for yourself so you can be there for others. So trying to manage, for me specifically, trying to manage, an alcohol, addiction to alcohol while actively drinking takes a ton of energy to be there for everybody and focus. It's just draining. So you don't have a chance to really grow and live up to all your potential because it's consumed by by that. And this follows suit with, drugs and alcohol. There are so many people, working people, high performing folks that deal with this every day. Um, and it's just one of those things. I don't think it's not talked about as often in a setting, outside of something that's particularly aligned to maybe talking about addiction or drugs or alcohol or whatever else. Like that's my thing. But
Hmm.
it's not talked about openly enough, and I think to really make people aware that there are others that deal with it every single day. And there is a way to get free of it, and to really become who you are and who you can be, because it's not you, it's not my identity. Um, and yeah, I think that is the biggest lesson learned, is like I can't really show up for my team, also my family, if I'm not showing up for myself. And my version of showing up for myself is getting sober and getting myself into a recovery state where I'm working on being a better person, being a better human, being a better, father, son, boss, colleague, teammate, whatever. All those things come from that. And I know that at 42 years old and having battled through an alcohol addiction for over 20 years. I had my first drink when I was 14. So who knows when it actually became an issue. I'd say it probably wasn't long after that, really.
Well, yeah, I think that's an important point there too. And so first off, I appreciate you sharing something so deeply personal, and your journey through it, and then clearly beyond it now. So good for you. That's fantastic. Happy for you and your team and everyone around you. And I think, so kind of, you got me reflecting a little. So for me, it's like, if I'm not, and I'm sure for many others, if you're not learning and investing in yourself in any way, you can't really show up in abundance for others or with value to others. Right. So that's like, yeah, I really appreciate you sharing that. And I'm sure the people listening will take that in many different ways, kind of as I did. Like, what am I doing to learn more, educate myself?
Yes,
Right.
absolutely. That is what I meant by it. It's like you don't have to have something. You don't have to face the challenges that I have. I mean, it could be mental health, which I've had my own challenges stemming from alcohol. But it could just be like you're just in a rut. You're not feeling purpose. You don't seem to have or really recognize a purpose that you can focus on and get excited about and have energy. I say this quite often. It's how you feel on Sunday night about your job that matters. Like, are you
Mm,
pumped to get up on Monday morning and go in and let it eat? Is that what you're into, or are you on Sunday night trying to figure out ways that you can not show up the next day, or
right.
looking for another job? It's like you need another job,
Right.
and that could be it too.
No, that's great. That's a great, real, awesome, authentic way to start our conversation today. Thank you. Um, so then let's go right into the biggest. So that's your biggest lesson learned.
Hmm.
So I think that couples well with, okay, what's been your biggest challenge that you personally, professionally, whatever it may be, and your team have faced? And it's kind of a three-tiered question, right, for us. So it's that's the question. And then, what did you do to remedy, get through it, solve it, get beyond it? And then, have you been able to put anything into place to hedge against that occurrence happening again in the future?
So I've been doing what I'm doing now in my associate director role for 2 years. Prior to that, I spent a decade, also same office, same building, a lot of the same responsibilities, but as a main MEP AMC project manager. But working with a team and the students in the same capacity that I am here. It's just I'm a supervisor now. But
Hmm.
so we've had lots of challenges as a team over the years, but I think um, and the team has kind of ebbed and flowed a bit. But I would probably talk mostly about more recently and transitioning into this job and having to build a team. Because transitioning in this job, I was one of the PMs. We had three project managers at one time. and one of the project managers left for and moved into the mechanical engineering technologies program as a lecturer instructor. So we were down to two. And then the other PM, Brad, he was the electrical engineering PM, which worked with together for years, just like Kyle, who was the CNC tech or CNC specialist project manager. He moved on to was still within the AMC to do a workforce position. So by the time I became associate director of projects, there were no more project managers to manage. There's nobody else to manage. There's no
A
one left.
leader and no one to do it.
I was a leader of none. But no, I had students. I had our wonderful engineering assistants that worked for us. And but the whole idea was to build a team. So I had to build and the capacity was to have three project managers, one food and ag, one electrical focus, and the other to replace the MEP position. Because it's very valuable to us, that partnership between Maine MEP and the Advanced Manufacturing Center. So when building that team and having that new team, it's very interesting. It's a very interesting position that we're in because we have one leg in industry and one leg in higher education. And bringing folks, which all three of the folks that we brought in were from industry and did not have a lot of experience with the university setting, let alone our quirky way we work. And with that, it takes a lot of experiential training to make our business model work here. And the key is building the strongest relationships with each other, our partners, and of course, our clients. So the challenge in that is how do we take folks with great skills and industry experience and put them in a setting where you're not just training someone once a year, maybe to do a task. You're training constantly. You're training each other. You're training the engineering assistants. And you're learning how to work in a traditionally fundamental research environment, but we're doing exclusively applied research. So it's an interesting challenge in that I always say that we're like a small business located smack in the center of Orono's campus that is fee for service. We don't receive any funding from the university to run this center. We run this center off from our rates, what we charge for the projects we do. We also have support from industry partners and from organizations like Department of Economic and Community Development, so at the Maine government level, and also Maine MEP. I already mentioned them, but they've been a partner for 12 years, over a decade, supporting a position here. And then we have this ebb and flow of larger grants and partnerships with groups on campus, groups off campus. But traditionally, like base funding has come from partners like DECD and Maine MEP. And I mean, we have a salary budget with benefits of almost $900,000, and we have to cover over 700 of that in project work. And at the same time, we're doing it with young engineers that are going to school right now, and in a lot of cases have not really used any kind of tools, even hand tools. So to take folks from industry without that experience, they go in here, bringing them in, it's tough. It could be tough because you want to get things done, but you have to show someone how to do it first, almost every time. Now, our students are with us usually for a year. So like they gain skills, but they have a lot of stuff on their mind. They're going to school full time to get an engineering degree and have a job on the side, which is adding an unbelievable amount of value to their future career and their learning curve, but it's tough. So for myself, I have to leverage all of the experience that I've had and all the failures that I've had at trying to make that work. And others like John Belding, the director of the center and stuff, he's been doing it for 16 I've been doing it for 12 professionally, and I was a student here for 3 when I went back to school as non-traditional. So I have that student experience to also leverage. I've been the student, I've been the supervisor, and now am the director of that or whatever. So I've done each job, which I've always valued. Being able to do what I asked someone to do, which is impossible to be with everything. But if I could, if I could have the ability to do the great majority of what I ask my folks to do, then that makes me a strong leader because I can demonstrate each of the things, and then with that too, folks can demonstrate to me how to do it better. So that's biggest challenge for me and the team. That's been the last year. Hired 3 new folks all at the same time. Hired 10 students. Of only two were students that we already had. So 8 fresh students, 3 new employees, and I had Dorian. Dorian's our CNC technician. I always say we bookend the team. He's out on the floor making sure machines run, making sure training, hygiene, safety. He makes parts too. He's out there running a CNC mill right now, making 216 little 356 holes in stainless for to help a research project on campus that I designed a retrofit to a piece of equipment they have. So, but yeah, that's it. Just like
That's awesome.
feet to the fire, jump in and figure it out. But it is challenging. I don't know how many times they're like, "This is different." My new phone, they're like, "This is different."
Well, everything you just thank you for walking through it, and everything you just, kind of delineated here is really one of the biggest reasons I was excited to have you on the show, because it's such a unique positioning you're in. You didn't, this is definitely the first time on the show I've had someone like you in a position like you're in, doing what you're doing. So I think it's just really good for all of us to learn from that. So that's awesome. I like that you pointed out that you've done every job that you now basically supervise, right? Or essentially do supervise. Now, I have a lot of admiration for that. There's been a lot of facility professionals I've met throughout the years, and one of them stands out. He's like, "Look, I got promoted, and I went down on the shop floor, and I worked with the team I was now responsible for because I hadn't done that."
Yep.
And his manager said, "What are you doing?" He goes, "What do you mean? What am I doing? How can I lead these people without doing it?"
Yeah.
And yeah, so yeah, Forrest, thank you. That's really cool. Yeah, what a challenge, man. New people all the time.
Hopefully they're here for a while.
Yeah, cool. Cool. Hey, rock stars. If you're tuning into the podcast and are feeling overwhelmed by all the maintenance demands at your facility, don't stress. We've got you covered. Our sponsor, Coludis, is your go-to partner to help you tackle all those demands and get them done right, on time, and with top-notch quality. From project planning to execution, Coludis is there to make hard work easy. Visit coludis.com today to get started. So I don't know, maybe you're kind of already answering this question, but what do you love most about your job and why do you love it?
Yeah. So I would answer that, and it kind of goes along with some of the strategic planning that we've been doing with the team, and we're continuous improvement. We have a weekly meeting, we have biweekly one-on-ones, and everything, because there's so many great ideas with these folks that are coming from other industries, work for other companies, who've seen things run differently. So how do we continue to integrate better ideas? And one of the things we've been talking about a lot lately is we've kind of worked through a backlog of projects that built up with the just kind of me and some students doing our best. We kind of worked through that. So now we're digging into a sales cycle. We're started like getting that sales cycle rolling again, where the new project managers, they're going out, they're finding work, they're putting proposals together, having that integration. And the thing and with that, it's like, how do I want to see that happen? And then also, how do they feel about it? What do they think is important? And one of the things I say a lot is under promise, over deliver. How do you make sure that you have a satisfied client with a successful project outcome? under promise, over deliver. And I love that challenge. And also with that, adding value to folks' lives through their work. How do we bring those two things together so that, like I said, the Sunday night thing. Sunday night,
Right.
I want folks to be like, I can't wait to go to work tomorrow, work with my assistants, solve this thing, and then see that client um j- more than, all right, you did a thing for me, it cost this much money. Be like, this is awesome. Like this is going to change my business. This is going to make it so that I can do XYZ, and it's upward. It's like, this is going to make me go this way.
Yeah.
Because if we're not going up, we're going down, and we want to help people go up. So that's why I love that. It's the challenge and how do you make all that happen in this interesting situation that we're in. Like I said, industry, higher education, somewhere in the middle. Um, and I love that. I love to underpromise over. I love giving someone more than they expected. Give them a baseline. This is what we're going to do. But I'm always in there thinking along the way, how can we make it a little bit better? How can we give them that thing that they're like, I'd love it to be able to do this. And they're like, geez, I can't guarantee that. I can't.
Mm.
But how can we get that thing that I said I couldn't guarantee?
You're delivering on this, like the wow factor. That's your goal, is what I'm hearing, right? It's like, how do I actually give them that perceived impossibility? And I'm going to do it. Or you're going to do your very best with the team to figure out how you could actually make it happen.
I like how you put perceived impossibility, because that's how it may be framed. So that, but sometimes it's not even like big stuff. It's little stuff. It's like, um, I was working on something this morning, and the client had asked, it's a device that will go at schools to help teach math by using sunlight, of all things. And they had asked originally, is like, it would be cool if we could integrate the school's colors into the project. How much do you think that would cost? And I was going through, it was like coatings, powder coating. Oh, I'd really like to make this thing out of stainless steel so that because it can be outside in a park, basically next to school. It was like that. It make it last. And so I was like, I don't know if we'll be able to do that on this one. But the whole time, like, how can I do something that gives what they're asking for on this prototype, and then there'll be another version? How do I start that now? And I was like, I have a 7-year-old daughter, or 7 right now. She loves playgrounds. All summer, we ride our e-bike around to all the different playgrounds in the Bangor area. We've been to a lot of them.
Very cool.
I'm a nerd, and I look at how the playgrounds are made and how they make them safe, because this is what it's basically for the same things for middle school and junior high level kids to use. So like, how do they make those safe? The engineer in me looks at all the details, the fasteners, the materials, the coatings, the installation, all that. And I had the idea. It's like, you know what? We'll use colored plastic to trim and create replaceable panels. So it's not only do we get the school colors in there, but how do we make it so that it's not such an intense process to do the school colors, like send a whole unit to a powder coater to get a different color? How can we make the thing and just interchange these panels to include the school colors? And so I came up with a way to do it. And I haven't told them yet. I'm going to tell them tomorrow. And I'm going to show them. And I am going to
Nice.
thoroughly enjoy when they look at it. It's like, you got that in there? I'm like, yep,
Oh, that's awesome. That's
yeah,
so good. Look, I can just feel the passion coming out of you right now. It's like,
yeah.
you ask you what someone loves. I'm experiencing it with you right now. That's authentic.
That's
And
also what I like. I like it when people can tell. Yeah.
yeah,
I
man.
mean, it's if you saying that tells me that I'm doing the right thing.
I'm seeing and feeling the passion and the love for it. So it's great. And the paint guy in me, because of course Colutus does painting, flooring, and
Oh, I
fireproofing.
didn't even think of that. You know
Yeah,
exactly
man.
what I'm talking about.
Well,
Yeah.
you're landing it right now, because I'm like, well, yeah. Is it going to fade? Is it going to chalk? What's he going to do? How are we going? How often is the recoat cycle? This is a chat. Stainless doesn't like anything to stick to it.
Nope. So
All
then
of
we
that.
mild carbon steel. So then we got to white blast it. We got to etch product. We got to do all those things. And then film thickness, how things fit together, chipping, thick coatings like to chip, thin coatings don't, thin coatings scratch. Like, So I used to do auto body. Well, I did automotive grade finishes on trucks. So I painted big trucks with regular automotive finishes and industrial coatings. So I have a little bit of experience in the coatings thing. Yeah. Epoxies stuff. Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. Um, so what advice would you give someone? And this is an interesting question, right? More for you, I would think that you're so uniquely positioned, right? Like we've already talked about on the show, like what you do, how you guys make money, how you fund your center, all of that. But if you were to give advice to someone in a similar role, or maybe even not that similar of a role, what advice would that be?
So I think the advice is give yourself grace because you are going to fail, but it's what you do with the failure, right? So give yourself grace. Like, don't be so hard on yourself. Like I've I'd never heard of this. I was in non-traditional student, go back to school, and someone called me a type A. Never heard of it. Did not know what it meant. And I didn't know if it was an insult or a compliment, especially coming from the person it was and in the moment. So I was like, okay, whatever. Didn't think. And that way I looked it up and I was like, yeah, probably. So I can be pretty hard on myself. In general, I expect a lot from myself. And in turn, I expect a lot from others around me and in my team. But it's rooted in, I know we can do better, right? We all can, we grab another gear, we can all notch up, we can all learn more, we can all do that. But the key, like one of the critical things for me was learning to give myself grace,
Mm,
in that, like, I can't dwell on how I didn't do that well, how I didn't reach the level that I wanted. And this even ties back to the under promise over deliver. You can do it with yourself. Like set a reasonable goal that you can meet. And if you could do better than that, great. One of the other like components to that is I always think about is live in day tight compartments. Like, what can I do today? What can I finish today? What do I need to finish today? And I don't have to worry about yesterday because I can't do anything about it. I cannot change yesterday. The only thing I can do with yesterday is think about maybe what could I have done different, but I can't dwell on what the thing that went wrong yesterday. And I don't have to worry about tomorrow particularly either, because today isn't finished yet. Who knows what actually tomorrow is going to bring? In the last couple of years, someone did something with me. They did it. They did a little bit of an exercise. They took something like this tape measure and they threw it on the floor between me and him. And he was sitting in a chair like a little ways away from me. Threw it on the floor between me and him. And he said, we're looking at the same thing, but I'm looking at it from over here and you're looking at it from over there. We don't have the same view of the same thing. What's important is you trying to understand my view and me trying to understand yours and not getting hung up in our perceptions of the other's views.
I can't even tell you. Just that is the simplicity and power of what you're laying out is so cool. But please continue. I don't want to break your stride here.
That really, it just put context to what I'm constantly trying to do, but I was doing it poorly because I wasn't
Mm,
consistent in like communication is extremely important. And something that I really value with and trying to get the team to really value too is, and they do, it's just putting structure out, is like communication with clients, communication with each other, communication with the folks that work for us, communication with folks above us. It doesn't matter where it is we really need to think about other folks' perspective because it unravels pretty quick if you use perception to make decisions.
mhm.
And man, we can have so much more valuable conversations if we find things like something that's really common is we work with a client. I don't know anything about a lot of these industries that we work with clients to start with. And I always say, you folks are the experts. We're just really good at repackaging things.
Mm, mhm.
Like, we're not creating a lot of new stuff here. We're really not. We're just taking things from different industries and different bits and bobs and we smash them together so it works for them. You tell me what you need. You're the expert.
I like that.
in learning how to communicate with these folks that are experts in their field and we're not is nomenclature to me. It's like, is the language that we're going to speak in? And I'll be like done clear about it in the beginning. It's like, oh, you call this a spigot versus a boss. We're going to call spigot. I'm making up. We're calling these spigots. And I could work with another client that calls them a boss, and I'm going to call it a boss with them.
Mm-hmm.
Because it gives us clarity in the very root of a conversation. And that's how I see we can start to build that perspective. It's as simple as the words we use. Or asking just questions. Well, why is that? It may seem, because like a lot of times we don't ask questions for a couple of reasons. We don't ask questions because we don't want to take the time, or we think it's obvious what the answer is. And that's part of the problem. That's where perception starts to come in. We think it's obvious what the other person's answer is. It may not be.
I'll comment on that because this is all landing so powerfully for me. Like one saying that I will always use if I see myself or anyone else doing it is turn your assumptions into questions.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
just don't know. You don't know everything. I don't know everything. Ask. You don't know. So yeah, turn that, like, you got your whole script of questions right here because those are all assumptions that I just heard myself make.
Just say it out loud.
Just make that assumption into a question. That's it.
See, now I'm going to tie that right in. We're gonna have perspective conversation. We're going to do assumptions or questions. Hopefully I can give you the credit on that. I'll remember to give you the credit on that one.
No credit needed. I'm just trying to I'm trying to actively be in what you're teaching right now.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the tape measure between.
Be present.
Yes, exactly. I also think something else you said about, like, oh yeah, perception versus perspective is we all bring our bias to the table, whether we realize we do or not. All of our preconceived notions, all these things that get in the way or have the high potential to get in the way of whatever it is that we're trying to accomplish with somebody. So
of course there's two types of bias, right? There's two types that I know of anyways, implicit and explicit, right?
Mm-hmm.
We know, there's the stuff we know, the stuff we don't know. And I find myself almost to I don't know, almost to overdoing it sometimes. I have to kind of check myself. I think like am I making this decision? Stuff that has real implications or could complicate things. I think, why am I making this decision? Am I making this decision based on facts? Am I seemingly making a quick decision because I have a bias I don't understand or whatever? So I the self-awareness is, it's a challenge, but we all need to exercise it for sure. Because of, the biases. There's ones we know and there's ones we don't know. But you're right. Those are the things that we make those assumptions based on.
What did we say right before the show, right? Like, we'll bring it back to the point or the punchline.
I was explaining how I'm a storyteller, and I'll lose people on my path out, and then it's on my walk back that we get back together.
Fantastic. Yeah.
So I grew up in a small manufacturing company, facility, if you will, in central Maine, in a little town called Vassaboro. My father ran a company. He started when I was born, 1984 at home. And he was working for someone. He learned a skill and he's like, man, I can do this. So he went off and started on his own. And that was always 100 feet from the house. So I grew up watching my dad bootstrap a small business into a manufacturer. And I didn't understand when I was a kid or even as an adult when I ended up working for him. I got in a bunch of trouble and I needed some focus and help. And he provided it along with the rest of my family. But, so at this manufacturing facility right at the house, didn't really know it was manufacturing. But seeing that, and this comes back to the doing everything job too. I watched my father do every job, and as my boss for almost 7 years, he still did every job and ran the company. So I had that as an example. So I didn't really know much difference than that. So I think I was hearing you say all about doing the job, and I was like, why am I that way? And I thought it was because of him, but something that he used to say that I think is really important, and it is a piece of advice, I would consider it a piece of advice, is he would say, "Always help the little guy." And when
Mm,
it and in our case, we built LPS and delivery trucks, and what he said, I don't know if he said it once or multiple times, I don't remember, but he said, "Every 100 truck company started as a one truck company.
ooh, I like that.
Always help the little guy." 'Cause I feel like there's a lot of there's financial reasons. There's a lot of industries where you focus on the bigger pocketbook. Um, and there is stability in that in a lot of ways. If you're providing a service or a product, your manufacturer, those large, but don't ignore the little guy
Hmm.
because there is so much value in that on so many levels, from as simple as like help the local business community, work on, help that. So for us, we do it all the time. We're working with cottage industry folks that are trying to get out of the kitchen, off the kitchen table with their product that they designed, right?
Hmm.
And we help them get to that next level and get in industry. And we've done it so many times over the years. And even like 1 to 20 company, pure person companies, smaller, that are just trying to get that next edge. They're plateaued because of equipment, technology, processes, people. We help them get to that next one. We get to watch that, which is great. But yeah, always help the little guy.
So I think I don't know if this really applies, but I think I don't even remember who said it, but how you do anything is how you do everything. And like how you treat anyone is how you should treat everyone. Like it's like little guy, big guy, whatever it is.
Yep.
How do you treat people, especially when nobody's looking, right? Nobody's watching,
Of
right?
course.
Yeah. So good,
That's a
good stuff,
self-awareness
man.
thing too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So
definitely.
how do you make sure that you're living up to who you want to be all the
Hmm.
time? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. Man, I can't wait to meet you in person. Haven't met you yet, but we will.
See you next week.
Um, yeah, there you go, man.
Yeah.
So let me just, I just, you and I could probably do 3 episodes in one, but I mean, and I'm sure everyone would listen to you, but they don't want to hear me for that long.
I
So,
I don't know about that.
uh,
You took her.
well, I do want it. Like I mentioned the YouTube channel, and I think, I definitely at least want to touch on that with you. And, some of your passions, like, and actually everything you've talked about is interwoven personal, professional. So it's really no different,
Oh, yeah.
right?
It's
But
all stuck together, yeah.
what's this racing stuff? What's going on?
I've always been interested in motorsports, always, building things. I never stop building things. Like, it doesn't matter from work, at home, I'm always building things. I mean, it started young. I struck my first arc with a welder with my dad when I was 8. I learned how to drive a stand transmission truck about the same time, front end loader and that bootstrapping my father did in building a company, he never bought anything that worked when he bought it.
Oh,
We always
wow.
bought broken stuff and fixed it. Uncle Henry's, are you familiar with Uncle Henry's? It's kinda not a thing
Mm,
anymore. The little book, it was a classified book, came
I don't
out every
remember it.
Thursday. My
Okay.
entire life was every Thursday when the Uncle Henry's came out, and it was in every local store, gas station, whatever. We got it and we looked through it. And I learned this, looked for dirt bikes or whatever else stuff, but he was looking
Yeah.
for equipment to run his company. And, we fixed everything. Um, and so I got interested in anything that ran, and he collected cars. Um, Unfortunately, because he was like married to his business, in that he was always working in it and on it. He just workaholic, which I also learned that a little bit from him. Took care of his family though, absolutely. But he bought cars and never really got a chance to work on them until retirement, which was in the last 10 years. So I always saw these cars and talked about and learned about them. I was super excited. And 15 years ago, I would build hot rods my own, just like street cars and everything. But 15 years ago, I was building a Harley, and I was hanging out at the local Harley performance shop, Boyle's Performance, right here in Old Town. And Big Lou and Young Lou is what I call them, his father and son. They were both big men. Um, Big Lou and Young Lou, and they're helping me put together, just making a hot motor for my 95 Harley FLS TC, which is a classic. And He was building a bike out in the shop with a supercharger, like 120 something inch road glide with a big supercharger on it and an intercooler. And I was like, where is that going? And he's like, well, and he said, it's going to the land speed trials up at Loring Air Force Base in Limestone. I'm like, the what's? I heard of Bonneville. I grew up reading Carcraft Hot Rod magazine, looking at everything Bonneville Salt Flats, El Mirage, Ohio Mile, land speed racing. So as fast as you can go in a straight line for usually half mile, mile and a half in the case of Loring. Bonneville, it's a time mile over 3 miles, but anyways. And I was like, I gotta check this out. He's like, come on up. We got the motorhome. We're gonna be making lobster rolls. Come check it out. So I rode my Harley up, um, and I met him. And I get there, and I couldn't control myself. I was so excited about what I saw. It was the diversity in vehicles at this. You go to a car show, you have some diversities. But there's like the Mustang area, the Camaro area, the imports, the hot bikes. This was everything you can imagine and weird stuff, which I really liked because I grew up things, right? It's
Yeah,
like
right.
hodgepodging things together. So I was just hooked. And for the next 7 years or so, I would go up every time just to watch, just to spectate, to see it. Ride Harleys up. My father started to go. My cousin started to go. Friends that I had into motorsports started to go. And all of a sudden, we're like, we got to do this. My dad, like, Dad, you got to do this. We got to do this. Like, we got to do a car. And he had plenty to choose from. At some points, there were 60 of them. Got down.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot. And only a few of them ran and drove. It was pretty typical Maine stuff.
A lot of parts.
A lot of parts, a lot of cars that, could be restored. And so anyways, he had one. He had a 1988 Porsche 944 Turbo that was restored, that he started as a driver. It was becoming a driver, just finished it. I was like, so he bought we had these other cars and stuff. And I was like, let's just drive one. Let's just drive that one. Let's just take it up, have fun. They have a street car class. We took it up there. John, my boss, is my friend also. We became friends over the years, almost family really at this point. He goes up with us, and we take turns hot lapping that car, doing the mile and a half. And with a stock 1988 Porsche 944, we managed to go 149 miles an hour. And we were hooked. Like, it was over. It was just like drugs. I was like, I got to be a part of this. I got this feeling, So there it started. And over the course of the last 8 years, that car has turned into something else. My father and I have built that car together, all the fabrication work, all the engine building, all the engine tuning. We have a standalone computer. We built a whole car from start to finish, the whole deal. And it's pretty fast now. We went 186 miles an hour last year. My father's 77 years old. He drives the car. I do the support and tuning and stuff like that. Our goal is 200 miles an hour before he can't drive the car anymore.
In a 1988 Porsche 944.
With a 4-cylinder. We still have the 4-cylinder in it.
That's unreal. What is that thing putting out?
We made 600 wheel horsepower last year. This year, we're going to get on the dyno. We did some different head work. And I realized I failed. Speaking of failure, I had a sensor that in the ECU was scaled wrong. So we thought we had double the back pressure for the last 4 years of what we were supposed to. So we realized we don't have the limitation that we've been working around, the faults limitation. Lesson learned.
It's what you did with the failure. Well done.
Yeah, it's what you do with it. So we're going to turn it up. That's what we're going to do with failure.
Yeah.
We're going to turn it up. Hopefully make about 800 wheel horsepower out of 2.5 liters. Go up to Loring, go 200 miles an hour in preparation for next year. We will trailer it all the way across to Utah, and we'll run it on the Bonneville Salt Flats where they've been racing for over a century and set a world record for that class.
That's unreal. That is awesome. Who knew?
That's only one car that we.
Yeah, sure. What a powerhouse, man. 2.5 liter 4-cylinder putting out 800 horsepower at the wheels.
That's the goal. Yep. At the rear wheel. Yeah. 2-wheel drive.
Wow.
Rear-wheel drive. That is the goal.
Thanks for exhilarating all of us. I'll speak for myself, but I'm sure everyone else is too. That's awesome. So, all right. So how do we see this? Because you have a YouTube channel.
Yeah, so it's Late Start Racing Team on YouTube. Late Start Racing Team, and it's in the name. We it was my father actually came up with a name because on the ticket when you register the car, it's like, what's your team name? And he thought about it. He called it Late Start because he's late start. He started it when he's retired. I'm only 42, but I mean, it fits well. And now it's kind of funny too because my oldest daughter was 18 now. She started with us 5 years ago, going with us, and she became hooked. And she has her own cars, and she's racing. Her first time racing, she had their license for 2 weeks. 2 weeks, and she convinced her grandfather to let her run the tow truck, and she did 101 miles an hour in the tow truck, and she was hooked.
She's how old? Was how old at the time?
She was 16. She had her license for 2
Oh
weeks.
my God.
And then we built her a little truck that we restored together on the channel, which you'll see the whole series on the channel of us doing that together. So the channel, you get to see 3 generations building cars and hanging out as a family and doing cool stuff, getting hands dirty, failing, and having successes.
Nice.
And she actually learned how to drive a standard at the racetrack a couple of summers ago because we were so late on getting the truck finished that we were finishing it the night before, dragged it up there, and she learned how to drive on the runway, on the race course.
Man, you guys just live large, huh? And fast.
And fast. Yeah, we try to.
Awesome, man. Forrest, this has been one of the most exciting episodes I have ever done. Thank you for this.
Let's see I've done like 100 of these.
We're over 100 now. Yeah, somewhere in that neighborhood. Yeah.
I appreciate that then. I think
absolutely, man.
Yeah.
No, they're all good in their own way, right? It's just like that's the first time I talked about a 944 with 800 horsepower going,
likely
an hour.
story. Yeah. Likely.
Crazy.
Yeah.
How would people get in touch with you? I'm sure there'll be questions on any of the number of topics you talked about today.
You can just shoot me an email at forrest1r.wentworth@maine.edu. That is a good way to get a hold of me. And then, of course, we have a website as far as if you're interested in the extracurriculars.
Sure.
We have a website, latestartracingteam.com. And then, of course, on YouTube, Late Start Racing Team. Also on Instagram. And full disclosure, I am the film, direct, and editor, and a little bit behind on the editing. So,
I don't think anyone's going to be critiquing you.
Oh, yeah, I'm a little bit behind on the editing. I got to teach myself how to do that. I know I kind of, as you know, probably there's a learning curve in doing this content creation thing. And it's been fun, but it is time consuming.
Awesome. Forrest, thank you so much for taking all your time, dropping all your wisdom, and having all this fun together with us today. I really, really appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks. I had a lot of fun. I thought I was going to have fun, but I had even more fun than I thought. I was grinning the whole time, so that's good.
Cool, man. Thank you for everyone who's listening. Really appreciate it. You can catch us at facilityrockstars.com. All the episodes. Check out Forrest. If you like what you heard and what you experienced, you can follow us on wherever you get your podcasts. So another great show. See you next time. It's a wrap. Another episode of Facility Rockstars is in the books. Facility Rockstars is sponsored by Colutus, operating the way you operate in order to make your life easier. Until next time, facilitate and rock on.